Good afternoon. I hope you're having a great week. I just wanted to go over the lesson for this week. It's a pretty short lesson, actually. But we're going to be talking about Jacob and Esau, and when Esau decides to sell his birthright to Jacob. This comes from Genesis chapter 25, verses 27 through 24. Just a couple of things of note from the story. We're told right at the beginning that Isaac, daddy, loves Esau because Esau is a rugged man who is a hunter. He's an outdoorsman. And it says that Isaac loves the meat that Esau would bring to him. Jacob is loved by his mom, and it says that he is a quiet man. He's a plain man. He's a stay-at-home man. He likes to be around the house, and so as a result of that, there's a bit of competition that's going to play out, because if dad loves one and mom loves the other, then there's going to be some problems there. The story is about when Esau is out hunting. He comes back from his hunting trip. He's not been very successful on the hunting trip. And as he comes in, he smells a delicious stew that Jacob's been making. The text goes on to tell us that the stew is red. And Esau says, "Give me that red meat," or that red stew. The irony in this is that Esau, who is called Edom, literally means red. And we were told that he was born as a hairy man that was so hairy, and his hair was so red that he looked red. And so this red man wants to eat the red stew, and as a result of that, Jacob says to him, I will give you the stew if you give me your birthright. And Esau decides that that's a good idea, and so he does. And so in your groups, you're going to spend some time this week, and a little bit longer time in your group than normal, because this discussion needs to develop in your group, and hopefully it will. Esau is willing to sacrifice this long-term blessing from his dad in order to immediately be satisfied with a bowl of stew. And as a result of that, it points us to the fact that even in the story of Abraham, we have multiple times where the decision is made to give up the thing that has been promised to them in order to try to take things into their own hands. So I want you to go through with your group and just try to remember those times and talk about them as a group. Then the second question is based really upon that concept. And Bob Jones said this: "Don't sacrifice the permanent on the altar of the immediate." And so I want you to spend some time just talking about what are some of the areas that as a teenager they may be tempted to give up what God has promised, the good that God has promised in the future, in order to try to find immediate satisfaction. And so I think things will come up of cheating or lying, stealing, inappropriate relationships, those sorts of things. And then as a result of that, I'd like for you to come prepared well enough to be able to lead your group in a discussion on why obeying God's word would be better than doing those things. And I'd use some of those illustrations, if I were you, in order to help reinforce that point a bit. I know this week will be an interesting week. Several of you will probably be traveling. Some of you will recognize that there'll be some different people here than normal that are visiting. But I hope that we'll have a great week just exploring what God's word has to say. And as a result, I hope it can lead to some good discussions that can turn into opportunities for you as a small group leader to continue to build relationships with your group. I hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you on Sunday.